One of my favorite parts of the show is the topic of the week. And each week I just kind of pick something that's top of mind for me that I've been working with my clients, or something that's come up, or a question that I get asked. So this week's topic of the week is why it's so important. So a lot of what I talk about is board fundraising. That's something I'm really passionate about, is getting your board members engaged and involved in fundraising for your organization. And so one of the most important things that your board members can do to help with fundraising is to be a well-informed ambassador, a passionate ambassador for your organization. I think a lot of board members don't realize simply doing that, you're not asking anybody for money, you're just telling somebody why your organization means so much to you. And it makes such a huge difference. That's how you get other people involved, engaged, excited about your mission. I tell a story in my book. I won't go into great detail, but about how basically I am not cut out to be a salesperson. I'm not interested in, what people typically think of basically as fundraising, right? Very transactional, and you have to beg people for money, and you have to accost them at parties and whatever it is that you conjure up in your mind that is this just really terrible thing that you have to do to get money. I am no good at any of that, right? But as you can tell, hopefully, from watching this show every week, I am very good at speaking passionately about what I believe in and what means something to me. And that is contagious to people. And so I am a person that, I don't have those typical sales skills, but by speaking passionately and by, implementing other best practices, and by practicing relational fundraising, I have, for my previous organization, and have helped other organizations raise several $1,000,000. As development professionals, what does that mean? How do we prep our board members to be ambassadors for our organization and our mission? First of all, make sure that they have proper materials that are informing them. If you can put together an FAQ booklet or a 10 reasons to support this organization rack card that has really important bullet points that are just like the crux of why it's important to support the organization. Make sure that your website is up to date. Make sure that it is really robust and informative, and it has plenty of materials for your board members to go on, educate themselves. If you can, every board meeting have what we call a mission moment. Talk about something, give people stories, talk about something great that's happened in your organization. Give them a story of a client that's been profoundly affected by the work that you do. Something that is going to stick in their minds as something that they want to share with people. That is a great, just like we do here, a great news story, a great mission moment goes a long way. So make sure that your board members are prepared. You can also do role playing if they're nervous about having conversations with people. But that is the most important thing that they can do. And, just as a side note, because I like to talk about this, and I feel like it sounds like I'm always telling people to kick people off their board of directors. It's not what I mean. But if somebody isn't willing to go out and do these things and do what is required of a board member, it's okay if being on the board isn't the right place for them, right? So if somebody is not willing to go out and talk about why they have joined your organization, if they don't even want to go out and tell people why they're part of your organization, then it's definitely time for a conversation about why do they want to be on the board. Because if they're not willing to even talk about your mission, this maybe isn't the right place in the organization for them. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago, that's okay. That's okay if that happens. So anyway, prepping your board to be ambassadors is really, really important. Make sure they have the resources that they need, and, a little poke to get themselves involved every once in a while. These are volunteers, and they have busy lives. So just a little poke to remind them don't forget to incorporate our organization into your daily lives when you're out and about in the community is also pretty important. So that's our topic of the week. And if you have something that you want discussed on the show, or if you have something to celebrate, as I said before, please send it our way at Wednesday@BeWhat'sGood.com. We want all the good news, and we would love all the questions as well. Again, if you want to learn more about What's Good LLC, find more content, or watch the show, you can find me at BeWhat'sGood.com. And you can check the show out every week on Facebook and YouTube at Be What's Good. But of course, we like to be consistent across all platforms. And you can find me on LinkedIn, What's Good LLC, or my name, Jamie Dingler. That's Jayme, Jamie Dingler at LinkedIn or at What's Good LLC. And I hope you'll take a chance to check out my book, The Itty Bitty Book of Nonprofit Fundraising. It is available on Amazon. Makes a great gift for your board as you're talking about these topics of board involvement in fundraising. It really just breaks it down to the very basics of what they need to know. And then the whole last third or so of the book is just actionable ideas of how they can participate in fundraising for your organization. So I hope you'll check that out. I know lots of organizations have found it to be a useful tool in encouraging their boards to get involved in fundraising. All right, thank you all so much for another wonderful What's Good Wednesday. I wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you. And we'll see you back here in 1 week for another What's Good Wednesday. Thanks all.